So it's time to do the early tomatoes. These are the red profusions. These are the tumbling toms, tumbling tom yellows. So these are a red cherry. These are a yellow cherry. And I always do them the same. Just pop them into one plant per hanging basket. And I just prepare them by putting a blank pot in the hole to start off with. And then I can just drop these in because they're young plants. I think I only potted them on, 2, maybe 3 weeks away, something like that. But they're ready really to be planted out into their hanging baskets. And for the compost, I'm just using this stuff, which is Erin XL multi-purpose. It's just the cheapest multi-purpose I can get my hands on. Because really, with these early tomatoes, it's all, and especially in the hanging basket, it's all about feeding them with a liquid feed really. So I'm going to just get all these prepared and then I can show you the results. Right, so I've got these about a third full, and I've just put a handful of Marshall's Organic Extra into each of the pots, and then so just settle these in so that they're about level or slightly above the level of the pot. And then I'll backfill this with compost around here. And obviously I don't mind getting compost in the pots. And the reason I do it on the grass is because I can then just brush any sort of spilt compost into the grass. So yeah, just firm this in nicely. You want it nice and firm because there will be some shrinkage of this compost over time. So yeah, get it nice and firm. You can't really over compress compost though. Right, so now we get to the tricky bit. I'm going to ease the pot out. You've got to be quite careful, but if you compressed it down nicely, you should get a nice clean pot, which we have got there. And then the even more tricky bit, as I said, because these are young plants, is to get these out. And I've given these a good water to keep the compost holding together. And I'm not expecting a lot of good roots on these, which is fine. I don't want them to be pot bound, I want them to be minimally rooted. Yes, that's perfect. Hardly any root binding, but yeah, I'll put up how old these plants are from potting on, and really that is really good root growth in such a short period of time. So these pots are really moist, so we just drop it in and firm it in, and that should be, well, it is perfectly aligned. And these pots are full to the brim. And that's what I want, as I say, because I'm only going to be lightly watering them initially, and the compost will sort of compress down a little bit. Not compress down, but sort of settle down a little bit in the pots. And so I will have a little sort of 1 centimetre gap probably within a week or so for watering them. But yeah, I'm happy with that. So these are going well. And you'll see that some of them are just coming into flower, which is not ideal, to be honest. I actually want them just in bud at this point in time, but not everything can go exactly to plan. And so in about 2 weeks' time, once they're really nicely established, I'm going to increase the greenhouse temperature to 15 degrees. It's about 10 degrees at the moment, and it's basically costing me next to nothing to keep it at 10 degrees. I think the whole of March, I think half of March it was at zero, just above zero, just keeping it above zero. The last 2 weeks of March I've been keeping it at 10 degrees, and the total cost has been £8 for the whole of March, which I think is fine, because I harvest £8 worth of tomatoes in a week from these early plants later on in, in May. So it's easily worth it for me. And as I say, in about 2 weeks' time, once they're really well established, they'll all be out in flower. And at that point, since my objective is early tomatoes, I'll increase the temperature to 15 degrees at night, and that will allow for fruit set, which means I'll actually get early tomatoes. If I left it at 10 degrees or below 10 degrees, whatever, then I probably wouldn't get significantly early tomatoes. Probably get them, sort of middle of May towards the end of May. I'd rather get these towards the beginning of May, and because we really like tomatoes, and I like the challenge as well. To be fair, I just like the challenge of trying to get things as early as is cost effective to do. I mean, it's obviously dead easy to get things really early if you're prepared to pay like unlimited amount of money, but if you're committed like I am to not spending any money at all, that haven't saved through the harvest, then then it becomes a bit more of an interesting challenge. And I include in that obviously all the heat costs of the heating, as well as the compost and the pots and the greenhouse and everything. Basically the cost of everything have to be covered by what I'm harvesting, but it's just a game. Just makes life a bit more fun for me. So last year I used bigger pots than this, and to be honest, I just got too much leaf growth. So I'm switching to these smaller pots. I think they're about 10 litres, something like that. So they're not, to be honest, that much bigger than the hanging baskets, just a bit deeper. And I think these will be a much better solution. And I'll be moving these around as well. And so it's nice to have nice light pots when you're moving stuff around. I'm putting a tumbling tom in here. I've got to say, these tumbling toms are looking beautiful. They're slightly earlier than the red profusion in terms of the flowering. I don't seem to be quite as dense in terms of the number of flowers, but certainly plenty good enough. Actually, I didn't have enough of these containers, so I had to harvest some of last year's potatoes, and they were gorgeous. I think they're the nicest potatoes that I've harvested this year, and I think I sowed them about June, maybe early July, something like that. I really like doing them late for harvesting them in April, because the quality is so much better from a late planted potato than it is from a sort of an April planted one. So that's a good tip, and the size of them was perfectly respectable. I think they're not far off as good quality as my new potatoes, which aren't quite ready for harvesting yet. I've got a few weeks yet before I pick those. So we're all done, so I'm going to get these into the greenhouse now, and then I'll show you what we can expect to see in a few weeks' time, and then in about a month's time. So there we go, they're looking really nice now. Very happy with them. So I'm just going to give them a very light water, not the actual where the actual pots of the plants were, but just around the periphery, because I want that to be moist, not soaking wet. So I'm not putting very much water in, just enough to attract the roots from the original pots to the outside of the hanging baskets, and then I'll leave them without giving them any more water for a few days, and by then hopefully the roots will have expanded to fill the well, maybe not totally fill, but starting to move into the rest of the hanging baskets. So that is very nice. And so these I've already watered these. These don't get as much light, obviously, so I'll give them a bit of supplementary grow light because it is a sort of fairly shady corner. I have got my cordons as well, my early cordons. I've got some sun gold and some honeycomb, and again they're looking really nice. These are looking a bit better, so I will be potting these on into their final pots, and they're going to go where these peas are. The peas are in full pod now actually, so they're looking really nice. And I'll take these peas out and put them on the patio outside there because it's plenty warm enough for peas outside now. And having made space there, I can plant these, and then I'll be taking the side shoots off these plants and using these for my main crop, sun gold and honeycombs. So I'm quite looking forward to getting a bit more space in this greenhouse because I really need to get those peppers potted on as well. But right now I've just got all this space taken up by tomatoes, and tomatoes give you an earlier crop than peppers, so they take priority. I've also got my main crop peppers here, well, half of them, enjoying some natural light and some nice breeze and everything. So, oh, my early strawberries are coming on nicely, so everything's looking pretty good in here. So I'll just show you, as I say, what they'll look like in a few weeks' time, and what they'll look like a few weeks after that when we're actually starting to harvest tomatoes. And I'll put the dates up from last year so you can see. I'm hoping for slightly better results this year than last year, but still I wasn't massively disappointed last year. Anyway, my name's Steve, and if you want more details, just take a look in the description below and you'll find links to everything basically. See you soon.